Ben Palmer is back. Ben Palmer is a comedian. That's what I've seen some of his posts about. But also, what he also owns, is a fake illegal immigrant hotline. Do you guys remember this guy? Before, he had spoken to this elementary school teacher who wanted the parents of one of her students, like a 5-year-old kid, deported. But maybe this one takes the cake. This woman is upset about a chicken processing plant and the employees there.
I have a website for reporting illegal immigrants, and people end up on it thinking that it's legitimate. I had one person who wanted to report the Hispanics at the local food pantry, and also the Hispanics working at the chicken plant.
But they trade their kids to the people back in line so they get more food.
Have you tried talking to the people that run the food pantry?
Yeah, they've been told by management not to say anything because they need food too. You know, it's one of those deals. And it's frustrating as hell.
Yeah, so you said that they're non-deserving?
Very. Well, the thing is, but they're illegal. They don't speak English.
So do we want them getting less food, or do we want them just to get deported?
Deport them.
Let's say we deport, half of the staff at the chicken plant, and is there something that can be put in place there?
I'm going to be real blunt. White folks don't clean chicken.
You said they don't clean chicken?
No, white people don't. It's a nasty job. Chicken plants are notorious for illegal aliens. They work cheaper. They work long hours. They'll pull a double shift. It's just nasty work. And I was born and raised on a ranch in Wyoming. My mom and dad used to order in 500 chickens every year.
So you were cleaning the chickens?
Oh, yeah, but not in a plant.
Okay, so white people don't clean chickens in plants?
You got it.
Just at their own houses?
Right.
Ben Palmer asks the right questions and follow-ups at just the right time. Everything that these folks say to him, he just throws it back at them so they can hear how they sound, because apparently there's this blockade. When they say things outwardly, their ears don't hear it, and they don't understand how absolutely racist and bigoted they all sound. But she pointed out how these folks aren't deserving of any of these food pantry items. How could they? What are they doing here? These are my taxpayer dollars. She doesn't care if they're going to, multi-billionaires. She doesn't care about that. What she cares about is that people are getting a couple cans of food. But the real thing here is how she's being really blunt, how she's blunt here, which actually means really racist here. That cleaning chickens is a nasty job, and that's for those brown immigrants. They work cheaper. But, all these clean white folks, they can clean their chickens at home because she's from a farm in Wyoming. What a loser this woman is. She exposes herself further as she continues on and has no idea that Ben Palmer is, setting her ass up.
And then they go upstairs. They're allowed to take free showers. They're allowed to take their kids up there to get baby formula and diapers. And I just have a problem with it. I pay taxes. I'm upset.
They're cleaning their bodies.
Yes.
We don't want them to smell good.
Yeah, I know.
We want them to keep being unclean.
We do?
We do?
I guess we do. Who's paying for the water? Who's paying for the electricity? It's not them.
People get to take showers. Can you believe it? I wanna let this finish, because what then Ben Palmer then cornered her into was coming up with potential. I don't know how he did this. Having her come up with potential pitches to hire more people, considering she wants all the folks here deported. You never imagine the things that she wants to come up with to tell the right folks to have these jobs.
That kind of says black people don't apply. Brown people can apply, but only if you're not Spanish. Follow me? Well, you could put down there, English-speaking U.S. citizens only need to apply.
In parentheses, we can put white people, because that's really what we're going for.
And again, whether it be milk chocolate, white chocolate, or dark chocolate.
It's a chicken plant, though. We're not talking dairy.
I'll tell you what, they make a lot of money.
The dairy cows?
They get paid well. Yeah, they get paid well. And I'm not a discriminatory person. I really am not. I mean, good grief. We used to live in the Virgin Islands, and my best friend's black, and I don't have a problem.
Standard. Effing standard. So some of the parameters of what she thinks should be in this ad is black people. Sure. Brown people, not Spanish speaking brown people. We have to make sure that we make these differentiations, because of course, Spanish speaking brown people are all illegals and they work all these extra hours. But did you see what she said on the back end there? I mean, there's many things that she said on the back end there, but one of them that stuck out was they make so much money. Isn't that weird? Because I feel like, Like a minute before that, she was saying that these folks work for less money and double time, which means that they don't make tons of money. Who makes all the money? Which one is it? It's like she doesn't think clearly. It's like she doesn't go from one step to the next and see if any of her 2 points coincide with each other. It's amazing the stupidity that pulsates through this country's brains. It's so heavily based in discriminatory and white supremacist thought process, they don't even know up from down. She can't think clearly. I'm sorry, there was one other part. I'm trying to remember what it was that she said. Oh yeah, she's not a racist. Oh my God. Because at the end, once they hear a conversation that they're having with someone about their racist views, what happens is they start hearing it and go, I'm not a bigoted person. I've got black friends. I lived in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I've been around those types, not the savage types, but I've been around the good ones. And one of the best ones is my best friend. Great stuff over there. It's all entertaining. It's very funny, but it's very, very eye-opening. That is, in case you don't look at what the way it is that people on, cable news networks talk about immigrants. Because, Scott Jennings, who I really tried to avoid, but he stuck out to me in this particular situation because the reasons why you got people like that lady who has her best black friend and also says that white people don't clean chickens. It's only for brown Latinos that she doesn't want here, to see if that makes sense. They get their hate from people like Scott Jennings because he normalizes it. This is the problem with people on TV spewing hate and making it seem like it's normal.
Now, they detained him, learned he couldn't be deported. Why couldn't that have been done before? Well, part of me wonders, is it because they have quotas that they have to reach in terms of people that they have to detain as part of the Stephen Miller push to hit certain numbers?
Yeah, I don't have enough facts about this case to know whether what you're alleging is true. I do know broader numbers. I saw some numbers today for the month of January, in fact, for the city of New Orleans. Over 2,500 arrests, 10,000 deportations, 25 gang members picked up and taken off the streets. I mean, ICE is having hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of interactions with people around the country. Do I think it's reasonable to assume you're going to have individual interactions where something goes awry, where a detail is missed, where there's something unfortunate or bad that happens?
This man is dead, and he didn't need to be dead.
But does that negate the need to do the hundreds of thousands of other interactions they're having across the country? Of course not.
Scott Jennings was talking about that story I mentioned just yesterday about the blind refugee man who they took in, then dropped back off after they couldn't find any charges to really nail down on him further, and left him out for dead. And that's what happened. He died. Couldn't speak the language, couldn't see much. So they just didn't give a damn because the atmosphere, like that woman who was calling in to deport folks that she says are only worthy of unsanitary chicken supplies in another country, because of people like that, hear people like this guy say it was just an oversight. It was just a missed detail, is what Scott Jennings said. I wonder if any of Scott Jennings' family died under circumstances that were at the hands of someone else. And if he would go on TV and then go say, you know what? It was just a missed detail. That's why my family member is dead. It's just a missed detail. Donald Trump and his, Gestapo just missed a couple of details because, as we've also seen, there's a lack of training. In fact, there's a direct training to ignore details that might keep some people alive because they don't care about anyone's lives. As a matter of fact, what they're actually motivated by is killing people. The other bad part about this is that lady who called in to Ben Palmer to talk about and complain about chicken processing plants is that she's just some idiot in the middle of the country. The problem is this same president has also hired the same type of idiots to conduct the operations at DHS. And when they conduct stupid operations at DHS, they end up shooting themselves. Literally.
Overnight, concern and outrage after a group of congressmen announced the Department of Defense mistakenly shot down a Customs and Border Protection drone near El Paso, Texas, prompting the FAA to restrict flights in the area around Fort Hancock.
For the Department of Defense to shoot down a Customs and Border Protection drone would demonstrate a shocking breakdown in air domain awareness.
In a joint statement, 3 Democratic congressmen saying our heads are exploding over the news. They claim the Trump administration has sidestepped a bill that would have trained drone operators and improved communication between government agencies, including the FAA and Homeland Security. But the administration says it's working to mitigate drone threats by Mexican cartels and foreign terrorist organizations at the U.S.-Mexico border, and insist the engagement took place far away from populated areas, and there were no commercial aircraft in the vicinity.
In geographic areas where military and civilian law enforcement aircraft are working together, there's always good communication and coordination. So it's unclear to me why at the southern border right now that type of coordination doesn't exist.
No, I don't think there's a lack of communication. We all know each other well and we all communicate well.
Sure. I guess the Department of War under Pete Hegseth is so, their fingers are itching so much to go shooting at things that they've even shot down the DHS drones now at the border. How stupid are these folks? I wonder how much that drone cost that they shot down themselves so they can maybe brag about how they shot down drug drones. And matter of fact, it was just Kristi Noem's drug drone that Pete Hegseth's dumbass shot down. But you know what? I feel like some of you guys might be wondering, didn't we already hear about this? Didn't, DHS or Border Patrol or ICE or Department of War shoot our own folks down or something that wasn't actually a threat? You're right. This only happened like 2 weeks before.
You see, multiple sources tell the New York Times that the unprecedented air closure came after immigration officials earlier this week used an anti-drone laser shared by the Pentagon without coordination with the FAA, which is to say, the Department of Defense lent one of its experimental laser weapons out to Customs and Border Protection officials. And these laser-armed immigration agents fired it off in an area where there is commercial airline traffic. At what were they laser blasting, you ask? A Mexican cartel drone invasion? No. Again, according to the Times, CBP officials thought they were firing on a cartel drone, the People said, but it turned out to be a party balloon. Source later told a reporter for CNN that, in fact, the target turned out to be 4 party balloons.
So the latest instance of shooting down folks in the sky, or I'm sorry, drones in the sky, was conducted by the Department of War under drunk-ass Hegseth. The previous moment was DHS themselves, Border Patrol themselves, shooting down some party balloons. Party balloons. Because, you can confuse party balloons with, drug drones from the cartels. I had to find out if Kristi Noem responded to this, debacle. She didn't, but she was asked.
That CBP actually hit a party balloon that it thought was a drone with a laser earlier this week, as it was reported. And if that is true, why wasn't the action coordinated with the FAA?
This was a joint agency task force mission that was undertaken, and we're continuing to work on the communication through that, but recognize we're grateful for the partnership with the Department of War and the FAA as we go forward. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. She didn't answer the question. What's your thoughts on this? Are you guys going to make this better? Are you going to coordinate things to be different? We saw it, and we're going to continue to things up. It's really all the answers that they've got. Zero accountability. That's why she ran off afterwards, in case there was like a half of a reporter in that room that was going to ask her, wait, you didn't answer the question. Isn't this dangerous? Don't you have an accountability to the American people? Why are you wasting taxpayer dollars on shooting your own things down? These are the folks who are stealing, then wasting your money on all their projects. If you ask Kristi Noem about her flights, about the new jets that she wants, and how she fires pilots for, not bringing her Snuggie onto planes. Yes, all that's true. I feel like she won't want to answer those questions either, because they don't want us to realize how bad this really is.